Or better yet, let me ask this question. Who's keeping you from getting there? See, the only person keeping you from getting you to where you're supposed to be is you. The only person keeping me from getting myself to where I'm supposed to be is me. See, I have no excuses for not getting to where God's called me to be. I have no excuses for not doing the things that God's called me to do, or that even I set out as goals for myself in life. None of us have any excuses, but the issue is that we make plenty of them. I mean, I can think of it was hard for me as I was thinking about all the things that we make excuses for. And man, the list just kept getting longer and longer, and I'm like, we'll be here till next Sunday if I keep going. Because there's so many excuses we make for not getting where we're supposed to be. I mean, I had a goal at the beginning of the year. I was going to be vegan. I said, okay, well, I have to go and I have to do this. So I got to go all in, which means no meat, no dairy. But it's okay if I do it this day, or it's okay, I'll just do a little bit. See the excuse coming in? See the justification coming in? And then I was like, okay, wait a minute, I gained way too much weight, so I got to get in the gym and I got to do this, right? But then the excuse comes, wait a minute, it's too early to get up. I don't feel like it today. Also, my leg hurts. Right? We come up with all these excuses. But see, the only person keeping me from being the best me there is me. Because God's for us. God is already going, okay, come on, let's go, let's do this thing. Right? But so the only thing keeping us from getting there is you and me. And there was this guy by the name of Moses. And Moses had a plan lined out for him. I mean, God, before the foundation of the world, we talked about this on Wednesday night. Before the foundation of the world, did you know that God has a plan for you before He even created what we see outside? He already had you and me in mind. He already had thoughts for us. He already had all these great intentions about us. He was thinking the most beautiful, wonderful things about us. He was thinking, man, I can't wait till they do this, and I can't wait till they go there. He had all this stuff going, right? And he's thinking, man, I can't wait for them to walk out their plan. But the only thing that keeps us from walking out our plan is who? Us, right? It's so. Here's this guy named Moses. And we're going to parachute down into Exodus 2, and we're going to fly around a little bit. We'll go to Exodus 2, 3, and 4 today, for those of you who have your Bibles with you. But in Exodus 2, this baby gets dropped into this water, and it's not just any water, it's the Nile River. And this river flows right by Pharaoh's house. Now he's the guy. He's the man in charge of the whole entire area. So this kid is floating because the mom tried to hide him because they weren't supposed to be having kids like that. So Pharaoh, is going to kill him if he knows he's there. But here's this baby comes rolling by on the river, and Pharaoh's daughter just happens to catch him and goes, "What's the deal? Look at this baby. She's here." He takes the kid in, and the next thing you know, he rises up to be what we call today Moses, who's the leader, right? He ends up being this great leader. So God had a plan for him. See, when he already knew that when he put him on earth, that he was going to be put in that river. He already knew when he put him on that river where he was going to. He knew when he put him on that river that young lady was going to pick him up. Why? Because she was taking him. She was helping him. She was assisting him along into his destiny. And don't you know that people come along every day and help us to get to our destiny? The problem is that we don't see it, we miss it, because we're so focused on who we are wanting to be versus who we're supposed to be. But there was a plan for this guy. He becomes this great leader, and he's walking around one day, Exodus 3, and all of a sudden he looks up the hill and he sees this bush and it's on fire. He's like, I gotta go check out what that is. So he goes up there and he sees it, and all of a sudden the bush starts talking to him. How many of you would trip out on that? A bush is on fire in the alleyway, and all of a sudden it starts talking to you. Y'all would flip out and run the other way. I know you would. You'd be like, what they put in my water in that church, man? Come on. Right? But see, this was his modern day neon sign. This was his modern day, God was speaking to him through this neon sign. How many of you know sometimes we pray we need a neon sign to hear from God and see what God's doing. I don't know about you, but sometimes I need a neon sign. Because I got to make sure, I got to double sure, like this is what God is where He's taking me. Right? And what's funny is that, I get these neon signs all week long when I'm preaching because, like, I think God's giving me this message. I'm like, are you sure? And every message I listened to this week was about not having an excuse, not getting to where you're supposed to be. I'm coming home from setting up the church this morning. I flip on the radio and there's Joel Osteen talking about the only thing keeping you from getting to where you're supposed to be is you. And I'm like, my God, that ain't the most neon sign there is. And so here he gets to his neon sign in life, and all of a sudden the bush starts talking to him, and it goes like this. In Exodus 3, verses 7 through 8, it should be up on the board for you. It says, God said, I've taken a good, long look at the affliction of my people in Egypt. He says, I've heard their cries for deliverance from their slave masters. And I know all about their pain. And now I've come down to help them, to pry them loose from the grip of Egypt, to get them out of that country and bring them into a good land with wide open spaces, lush with what? Milk and honey. The land of the Canaanite, the Hittite, the Amorite, the Bezerite, the Hivite, the Jebusite, the Long Beachite, you call it, right? Put your city in there, and that's where they're from. And so he's saying, I'm going to take them from a bad situation and put them in a good situation. But he's saying, I don't want to do this because, well, I need you to do it. Because I want you to do it. I want you to exercise some faith. I want you to exercise the plan that God has, that I have for you. I want you to do this because I'm calling you out to be a leader. Verse 9 through 10 says, the Israelite cry for help has come to me. And I've seen for myself how cruelly they're being treated by the Egyptians. Here it is. It's time for you to go back. It's not time for her to go back. It's not time for him to go back. It's not time for you to go back. He says, it's time for you, Moses, to go back. See, he's called them out, specifically said, this is a time such as this is right now for you, Moses. Now's your time to step up and be the leader. Now it's your time to step into your plan. Now it's time to go from living in the palace to go living out with the people. He says this, he says, and I'm sending you to Pharaoh to bring my people, the people of Israel, out of Egypt. And Moses answered God, and he's like this, he's like, why me? How many of you ever, pastor come to you and said, hey, I want you to lead a ministry, and you're like, why me? What? Why do you want me to do that? Because we feel, like Moses was feeling, I'm sure the responsibility, the pressure, all the, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I'm capable of doing this. I know that Miguel preached a message not too long ago about the unqualified, right? God never calls the qualified, He always qualifies the called. Come on, somebody, right? So you are called. Everybody in this room is called to do something for God, and not only for God, but with God. And so he says, well, why me? What makes you think I could ever go to Pharaoh and lead the children of Israel out of Egypt? What is it so special about me that you think I can do this? And God says, don't worry. Why? Because what? I'll be with you. How many of you know that verse says, I'll never forsake you or leave you, right? He says, I'm always going to be with you, go to the very end, right? You know, it's one thing to have that concept in your brain, to have the knowledge, but it's another thing now to have to go out and walk that thing out. And really trust that God is going to be with you all along the way. And so here we go. Exodus 4, here's where it all unfolds. Here come the excuses. Here comes Moses going, okay, wait a minute, watch this. I'll get out of this. How many of you have been asked to do something and you say, watch, I'll make up an excuse or a reason why I'll get out of this. Watch me go. Watch me make a real reason. I'll negotiate my way out of this. Anybody ever do that? I think I know you're not the only one. See? You know how many times I wake up on a Friday morning? I mean, it's Friday morning. It's the last day of the week, you know? And it's 4:30 in the morning. And I'm like, as a matter of fact, this last Friday morning, I got home from a business trip late Thursday night, and it takes me a little bit to unwind. And I'm like, I'm driving into Long Beach. I'm like, I could probably sleep in tomorrow. I'll just tell Craig I don't feel like getting up, or I'll come up with some excuse, valid because I've been traveling, I've been on the road. Why not to work out tomorrow morning? Why? It's okay, go ahead and work out without me, go ahead and train without me. And it's funny because as soon as I rolled into Long Beach, I was literally driving by the church. And I get a text message from Craig and he says, 5:30 tomorrow morning, right? Or 5:20 tomorrow morning, right? And I'm like, yep, I'm there. No excuses. But see, in our minds, we start creating things. See, the only thing kept me from getting in shape on Friday is me. Because he's still going to be there. He's still going to, why? Because he's the trainer. He's the guy in charge. It's up to me to show up. And like here, Moses is trying to get out of this, and he says this, he says, come on, man. He says, they're not even going to trust me. They won't listen to a word I say. He says they're going to say, I love that he's already putting words in people's mouth. He says, they're going to say, God, appear to him? Hardly. Think about that. How many times you start creating a story in your head like something's going to happen? The situation hasn't even unfolded yet. And here we go. We start creating stories about, well, I know this is going to happen and this is going to happen. And, well, they're going to say this. And somebody else? Come on. We all do that, right? And then what happens? What happens? We get to the situation, and guess what happens? None of what we thought about. In fact, it usually works out to be in our favor. It usually works out to be the best situation. It's the story we created. Come on, Kirsten, I see you back there. Come on. It's my daughter's she's really good at it. She'll create a story, she'll create it, and then next thing you know, she shows up, and none of it's ever happened. It's always something really radical. It's so good for her. It's like, But all these things we create, and we miss out. If we would just go, I'll just trust the plan. I'll just trust God because I know He's with me. Come on, right? And even if it ends up messed up, God is still with me. So how bad can it possibly be knowing that God is with us? And he says, so God said, what's that in your hand? Moses is like, a staff. He says, cool, throw it on the ground. He's like, yeah, I got this thing, throw it on the ground. And what happens? He threw it and it became a snake. Moses freaks out, he jumps back fast, and he says, and God says to Moses, now reach out and grab it by the tail. Now that one I might have an excuse for myself. There's a snake on the ground, it just was a piece of wood, now you want me to go grab it by the tail. Anybody in on that game? Nobody's in on that game, right? And if you come from Arizona like I did, man, you don't touch snakes, you run from snakes. That's why I love going to Hawaii, there are no snakes. That's like my favorite island, man. This is like, in Kauai, there's no snakes anywhere. I can walk around the jungles and I'm not going to worry about any of that stuff. But he says, reach out and grab it. And so he grabs it, and next thing you know, he's holding his staff again. He says, that's so they will trust God appeared to you. The God of their fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, Jacob. Then God says, put your hand inside your shirt. Slips his hand in his shirt, he takes it out. He's got a leper's hand. Next thing you know, he says, okay, now put it in there again, pull it back out. Next thing you know, his hand is fine. Now, all this to say this, he's saying, look, you're coming up with excuses, but I'm giving you the reasons that they're going to believe. I'm giving you everything that you need in me to get you where you need to go. And so if they don't trust you and aren't convinced by the first sign, the second sign should do it. But if it doesn't, even after these two signs, they don't trust you and listen to your message, take some water out of the Nile and pour it into the dry land. And that Nile water that you pour out will turn blood into the ground. So what does Moses do? Moses isn't like, all right, sounds good. Cool, that I can buy into that. No problem, I got this. Right? Absolutely not. You know what Moses, he tries and he goes for more excuses. Now God has given him everything he needs. How many of us have everything that we need and then some, and yet we try to still make excuses for not doing or going where we're supposed to do or go. And he says, Master, come on. I don't talk well. I've never been good with words. This sounds like Raina. I don't talk well, and I'm never good with words. Neither before nor after you spoke to me. I stutter, I stammer. And wouldn't you know, I remember when Raina used to do this. Oh, no, Pastor, I don't want to talk in front of everybody. No, she'd run out the front door. Next thing you know, she's up here, and now she's doing spoken word and killing it. Because she finally decided that she had no more excuses. And now she's up here blessing people, doing women's conferences, blessing people with these amazing things that God gives her, these words that God gives her. It's this radical thing. See, that's what happens when we step into where we're supposed to be. And God says, and who do you think made the human mouth? And who makes some mute, some deaf, some sighted, some blind? Isn't it I? So get going. I'll be right there with you, with your mouth. I'll be right there to teach you what to say. And for another time, he's like, come on, can you just please send somebody else? Now, you walk this through and you see the patience that God has. See, God is long-suffering. He's patient. He's not pushing him into it. He's not forcing him into this. I told one of our teams just recently, we were going through it with a bunch of stuff here at the church, and some other stuff in personal life, and I said, that's it, I'm done. I called my mother-in-law and I said, I don't want to do this anymore. She's a great voice of reason for me. I got an amazing mother-in-law. And she says, why don't you get with God about that? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to get with God about it, don't worry. I got that scheduled into my time for tomorrow. So I go and I get with God and I'm like, hey, what's the deal here, man? Like, what's going on? I don't even know if I want to do this anymore. And so quietly and so gently he said, I'm not forcing you to. Like, oh, thanks. It's just like I've asked you to do it, and you're just being obedient. So I'm still here. Okay? Sometimes we get so frustrated, we get so overwhelmed, we get into Frank's situation where it's like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I want to do this. I just want to give up. And we're not seeing the end from the beginning, but God always knows the end from the beginning. We never see what's on the other side of where we're going. But God just says, follow me. Go with me. I'm there. Don't worry about it. Just trust me. And then God gets angry with Moses. He says, don't you have a brother like Aaron? He says, I know he speaks well. In fact, this very moment, he's on his way to meet you. And when he sees you, he's going to be glad. And you'll speak to him and tell him what to say. I'll be right there with you as you speak with him as he speaks, teaching you step by step. And he will speak to the people for you. He'll act as your mouth, but you'll decide what comes out of it. See, he's still in charge. He's still going to tell Aaron what to say. God's not letting him off the hook. Now take the staff in your hand and use it through the sides. So what's the point here in all this stuff? Well, God will always use your weaknesses to turn them into strengths. Whatever that weak thing is that's in you right now, when I say weakness to you, whatever you feel that weakness is, maybe it's your speaking ability. Maybe it's your comfort level in talking in front of big people or big groups of people. Maybe it's just being able to talk to people one-on-one. Whatever your weakness is, God wants to turn that around and make it your strength. I remember in 7th or 8th grade, I did not want to get up in front of people and talk. And stupid me, I took a speech class. Guess what you have to do in speech class? You got to get up in front of people and talk. And so I thought, okay, watch this. And I showed everybody how to make a pizza. And I was like a natural at it. Next thing you know, they're asking me to do more speaking, more speaking. See, God was preparing for me when He had prepared for me. See, God was preparing me way back then for when He prepared for me today. He's preparing you. He's been preparing you all along for what He's prepared for you. The only thing keeping you from getting there is you. But the possibility of your availability. He's not looking at what you can't do. He's looking at the possibility of what he knows you can do. It's not your inability, it's your availability that'll get you where you're supposed to be. If you'll just say, okay, God, I'm going to trust you. I'll go. I'll do this thing. I don't know. Which is the biggest excuse that is on planet Earth, right? Those 3 words, I don't know. I don't know if I can do it. I don't know how to do it. I don't know. Well, how do you get from the I don't know to know? You just do it. You just step into it. And so whatever your I don't know is, get the I don't or I can't out of the way, and then you'll know. We already saw God was very patient. He always knows the end from the beginning, like I said. He's always for us and He's always with us. Think about that. He's always with you. He's with you everywhere you are. Yep, even in the bathroom, He's there too. Even in the shower, even when you're driving down the road, even when you're sitting here right now. God is with us here right now. And the beautiful thing is that He's for us. And so whatever He's asking you to do, He's not asking you to do something that He's not going to do with you. Think about our outreach team, our flip-flop ministry, which is a major undertaking or oversight ministry. And I see Carol flip-flopping through life, flip-flopping in different areas of life, and finally she decided she was just going to keep the sandals on and walk this thing out. And she said, okay, God, whatever it looks like, I'll do it. And I remember her just going all in. Getting training every Saturday. And that's where He says, don't worry, Moses, I'll teach you. Don't worry, Carol, I'll teach you how to do this. And He taught her all along the way. And then the next thing you know, she starts doing it. And not only does she start doing it, but then people surround her. See, whenever God calls you to do something, He's never going to leave you alone. He'll bring people around you to surround you. We got more people doing flip-flop ministry than any other ministry right now in this church, which is the most beautiful ministry, I think, too, because we're not going just helping all the people right here. We're going out on the streets and we're getting to the people who Jesus said, if you help the least of these, you're like helping me. And so the least of those are being helped. And we're going out there and we're serving Jesus, and serving Jesus so well that we got more stock of supplies than we need. We got more money in the bank account for that ministry than we need right now. It's pretty amazing how that works. It doesn't mean don't give to it or don't serve in it. It just means let's keep showing that thing abundance and watch God just radically move in it. But it just takes one person. It just takes one person to step into where God's called them to go, and the rest will follow. Next Sunday morning, we're going to do the flip-flop ministry, and we're going to go hit the canals again. We're going to hit the streets again. And every time we go, we probably have 20 to 30 people go. I'd love to see 40 or 50 people go this time. It would be amazing if it were an entire church event to go. Because it's where you really see people at their lowest moment. And whatever you think your lowest moment is right now, those people have lower ones. And as a matter of fact, there's people who go to our church now who used to live in those lower moments. There's people who used to live in the canal who now go every Sunday and serve in the canals. Come on, if that ain't God, that's pretty radical. See, people want to do the things that God's called them to do, but they want to do it on their terms. See, they make excuses. Well, God, I don't know if that's right for me. I don't know if I should be doing that, God. No, God says, this is what I want you to do, so go do it. We'll figure it out as we go. Well, maybe it's not as glamorous as you want it to be. Maybe it's not as sexy as you want it to be. As you know, everybody's going to know that you're doing it kind of thing. Who cares? If God's called you to it, He'll provide for it. And I'm pretty sure this is the one thing, Carol, that I can't talk you out of doing. Right? All right. Did you see how that works? This week I got a text message. Michelle and I got a text message. Hey, can I just get people together to pray for the church? I'm like, yes, all day long, please. How did you do it? Well, God told me to. Good. You just keep following God. You keep doing what God's called you to do. We'll keep doing it. If God calls you to do something, please do it. But I will tell you this, God's going to call you to do something that's going to harm anybody. or anything negative towards someone. And we saw on the news yesterday all the chaos going on, and here's the pastor's statement on that one thing. I don't care if you're black, white, red, yellow, green, purple, whatever color you might be, whatever culture, whatever ethnicity you come from. This house believes in loving everybody, but all people matter. Because God created you in His image. And so every one of us matter. And it doesn't mean I'm not sensitive to the situation. Because I hate racism with a passion. I think it's the grossest thing. Because the guy on that corner and the guy on that corner were both created equally in Him and by Him and in His image. So there's no excuse to love people. No excuse to go out and help people. No excuse to go and forgive somebody. No excuse to go and help somebody who is maybe hurting on the streets. No excuse to maybe when you roll up at the street light and the guy is sitting there with his sign, homeless and hungry. No excuse to not give him $1, because $1 is not going to kill you. The Bible says that all the time we're entertaining angels. That just might be your angel you're entertaining for the day. But but the excuse is this. Well, I think they might go spend that $1 and buy some alcohol or some drugs with it. Guess what? That's between them and God. The question is, what's between you and Him is your dollar. That doesn't mean you go and try to look out for 50 people a day to go give dollars to. What I'm saying is, when the opportunity, whatever the opportunity is presented to you, don't make the excuses to keep from stepping into what God maybe wants you to do that in that particular situation. God always wants us to be charitable. God always wants us to be loved. God always wants to be giving life, because that's who He is. It's the character of God. Well, I'm just going to hold back. I'll give it to somebody who deserves it. Really? Is that your excuse? I'm going to hold back to give it to somebody who deserves it? What if God said that with Jesus? He said, Jesus, don't die for them, only die for them because I don't think they deserve it right now. You'd be like, wait a minute, I deserve it. None of us deserve it. He was gracious, He was loving, He was kind, He was... You know, in listening to Frank's story this morning, and I knew about it. I actually knew about it before Frank knew about it. God already told me that He was going to give a promotion to Frank this week, and He actually told me He was giving you your own office. Because of my schedule, I didn't contact you, and it was interesting to see that come out of the week. And I'm bawling as I'm reading this because I know that he's been through a lot of things. Mary's been through a lot of things. And I know that Gabby just went through some things. But here's the only thing that's keeping you from your breakthrough is your been through. The only thing that's keeping you from your breakthrough is your been through. Because a lot of us don't want to been through something. We don't want to go through something. We just want our breakthroughs. We want to come into church and go, oh God, give me my breakthrough. Oh, come on. And you just got blessed. God just showed up and did a radical stuff. I need another breakthrough. No. How about you get through your been through, then you can have your breakthrough. Because see, God wants to cultivate you. He wants to exercise something in you. He wants to prepare you for what He's prepared for you. But we want to step out of a preparation mode. We just want to get to the prize. And it never works that way. That's why I think it's so beautiful to see. It wasn't beautiful to watch the journey, I promise you that, because there was a lot of things going back and forth with the Ortiz family. But here's what I know about them, is that they always go through their been through, and they always end up in a breakthrough. I've seen Miguel do it, I've seen Raina do it, I've seen them all do it. And it's just amazing to watch the breakthroughs happen. It's amazing to see God just keep moving and keep doing. And I know this, it's one reason why, because they keep on going. And they keep looking for their burning bush. And they keep listening to God when He speaks. And even when the enemy's coming at them and saying, give up, don't do it. Nope, I'm going to keep at it. And there's no excuses. I know this, when I sit down with Miguel and I say, Miguel, you've screwed up this or you've done this, or whatever I'm saying to him, you know, in love, of course, he's saying, you're right, I got no excuses. Because he knows at the end of the day, you unpeel the layer and you look at the core of the thing, there's no excuse. There's no excuse for bad behavior. There's no excuse for a bad attitude. Let's park right there for a second. Think about how many of us have a bad attitude every day. you don't understand, that person cut me off. You're probably going to cut 50 other people off. Guess what? Who cares? You're driving a nice car. Who cares? You're alive and breathing today. Who cares? You're on your way to something good. Who cares? You know, come on somebody, right? You're alive and breathing. You're 6 feet up, not 6 feet under. Whatever the situation is for when that bad attitude comes, you gotta, don't let anybody steal your joy. Don't let anybody steal that smile off your face. God paid a healthy price for that joy that He's giving us. He paid a healthy price for you to be able to smile and come up every morning and go, thank God I'm alive, thank God I'm awake. The fact that I know that He's with me gives me great joy, gives me great happiness, to know that I don't have to do life by myself. I got no excuses. But you don't understand, I don't feel good today. Okay, I understand I'm feeling good. Does that mean you have to be out of joy though? You don't understand, I broke my arm, but I'm smiling. I had a heart attack, but I'm smiling. I roll into the hospital, and last Saturday, there's Gabby, smiles in her bed, but she's smiling. Why? Because she's 93 and God's not done yet. He's still using her. And I told you, God gave me that word for you. He's not done yet with you. The oldest lady in our church, she comes in here every Sunday morning and doesn't make an excuse of why she shouldn't come, but she's always making a reason why she should come. That's a great example right there of I'm not giving up. I'm going to keep going and keep doing what God's called me to do. Some of us, we come up with these excuses to forgive. I'm digging a little deep right now. I don't want to forgive them. You don't know what they did to me. You don't know what they said to me. You don't know how... You're right, I don't know what they said, I don't know what they did, but you know what? I've been through some things, and I've had some people say some things and do some things to me. And guess what? Forgive them, for they know not what they do. Because that's what Jesus said, and that's what I'm going to say. Because what He says and what He does, that's what I want to do. And if He says forgive them, then I'm going to forgive them. Because God ain't got no excuses. Because those who are forgiven much, what? Forgive much. And we've been forgiven much. And so now it's time to forgive much. No excuses. How about sharing Jesus with people? What excuse do we have not to? If Jesus died for us, which we know, and He gave you eternal life, what excuse do you have to go and let somebody die without Him? What excuse do you have to go and be light in their darkness of their world? Oh, I ain't got the time for it. I'm in a hurry. I'm busy. All excuses, right? All reasons why we shouldn't do things that we know are just simple, God said to do. And He put it out there for everybody. Matthew 28, He said what? He said go. Simple enough. There it is. He just said go. Therefore, what? Teach all nations, baptizing them. And there it is. It's a simple protocol. It's a simple command. But the even greater command was to love God with your whole heart, soul, mind, and strength. Love people and love you. A lot of times when we make up these excuses, it's because we just don't know who we are or whose we are. Because when we know who we are, we know whose we are, the excuses are dropped down. They get less and less. And the deeper you go with God, the more you understand the excuses have no excuse. What about tithing and offering? You don't understand, Pastor. I gotta pay my bills this week. Okay? What if you could not worry about that? What if you could just know that God is with you and trust Him in that? Because I know there's plenty of people, and a lot of people aren't here today. I don't know, Sunday, Monday, whatever you want to call it, summer. So many people get radically blessed in this house because we keep giving and giving and giving. By the way, last week's offering, about match Huntington Beach's offering, I just want to tell you that. But there's people who still sit in this room every Sunday after Sunday, and they just want to hold back. They don't want, because they come up with excuses, I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to pay for this. Frank kept sewing, kept sewing, kept sewing at the corner office. Miguel kept sewing and sewing and sewing. He wasn't sewing a lot, but he was sewing. Next he said, you know what, that's it, I'm all in 10%, here we go. The next thing you know, he got a raise. Next thing you know, he started his business, and now his business is doing really well. Come on, these are the things that happens in life. Craig's sewing and he's sewing and he's sewing, and then, for like 3 weeks, the whole 3 weeks, by the way. The next thing you know, he gets a triple raise and a $500 bonus when he gets home. Come on, somebody. Right? So what excuse do we have? If there's testimony and story after story and people keep getting blessed, I told you the only thing that's getting you from your breakthrough is your been through. You haven't been through it yet because you're afraid to do it. What if this might happen? What if I can't do this? What if I can't afford that? But the thing is what if you could? Would you still have that same mentality? I can't go to church today. I don't feel like it. The average person today, check this out. I'll share this with you. The average person. Is anybody in here average? I want to help you with that. Because you're not average. Because you're here today, and you're here to get what God's called you to get. But here's the thing. The average person goes to church once or twice a month. Average. As far as I know, we're all a bunch of supernatural living kind of people. So we live above average. We give above average. We sow above average. We serve above average. We give God our very best in this house. I don't want this to be, I've never wanted it to be an average church. I won't have it. Why? Because there's no excuse for it. There's no excuse just to be average. We're always supposed to be living above and beyond. Why? Because Amy said it perfectly this morning. Jesus said, I'll give you life and life more abundantly. He didn't say, I'm going to give you an average life. He said, I'm going to give you an abundant life, which means that we need to live more abundantly than we're living. We need to give more than we're giving. We need to live more than we're living. Look, your destiny has already been determined. You guys know that your destiny has already been determined. So be diligent. What you think is there to destroy you is there to promote you. A lot of us have found that out. I thought my marriage was going to destroy me. It did nothing but promote me to be able to speak to marriages all over the world. I get to go to Maui in a few weeks and talk about it. If that ain't something good, I don't know what is. What was there, what you saw, what was there. When Moses saw the burning bush, he could have thought, I better get away because I might catch fire. But when God gives you a neon sign, you need to get closer to it. You need to step into it. Get all you can from who wants to give it to you, because it'll be the best thing in the entire universe. Well, I don't know how to get there. I don't know what to do. Get the I don't out of the way and figure out how to do it. Be creative. Get accountability. I don't know how to be, as it was all I know how to do in the gym. I don't know how to be the most fit nowadays with all the new stuff that they got going on, all the new machines, all this new stuff. I don't know how to be my physically fittest by myself. So I found a guy who I consider to be one of the great bodybuilders of today to train me. I said, you know what? I'll go find somebody who knows what they're doing. I'll go get some accountability. I'll get up at 4:30 in the morning to go to the gym to make sure that I get where I'm supposed to be. Maybe I'm supposed to be a pastor someday. Well, I better get myself around a pastor who knows what he's doing, who's been through it, he's got his breakthrough, and let me get around him because I need to learn how to walk through these been-throughs so that I understand when the breakthroughs come, I know what's happening. Maybe God's calling you to do, I don't know, fill in the blank. Whatever your blank space is, get around somebody who's had their been through so that you can also get your been through on, so that you both can celebrate the breakthroughs. But whatever God's calling you to do it. You have no excuses, no reasons not to. This should charge you up. This should stir something inside you today. Because anything less than that is just an excuse. Anything that less than that is Moses going, I'm not qualified. I stutter. I can't talk. I can't, I won't, is really what we're saying. How about if you just say, here I am, God. Whatever you want to do in me, do it. Amen?
Amen.
There's some people who are here today who could probably make some excuses as to why they shouldn't get married, or why they should get married, or I don't know. There could be a lot of different things being said, but God's called them to a new place in their life. He says, look, I'm giving you an opportunity. This is an amazing opportunity. It's up to you to step into it. And they could have said, nah, we'll figure it out on our own. No, they went the exact opposite direction and said, we'll do whatever it takes to get wherever we gotta go. And so in a few minutes we're going to marry those two people. Because they've decided that whatever it takes, they want to do what God's called them to do. They want to go where God's calling them to be. It's given them an amazing opportunity to be there. Let me just throw this thought out there because I just said it. For those of you who've ever been in marriage counseling with us, with Pastor Michelle and I, you all know this one question. What are you willing to do to get where you're supposed to be? What are you willing to do? And if the answer is, I don't know, or the answer is, not sure, we ask you to go ahead and take that thought and go back and think about it. Because if God's calling you to somewhere and you're in the middle of your been through, or you're being through, whatever you're calling it, and your answer isn't, I'll do whatever it takes to get where God wants me to be. See, that's what I call real Christianity. Because real Christianity says, I'll do whatever it takes to get wherever God wants me to go. That's when I know that you have a sold out heart for God. You really want to desire a relationship with Him. I'll do whatever it takes to get wherever God wants me to be. So let me ask you this. What's keeping you from getting to where you're supposed to be? Who's keeping you from getting to where you're supposed to be? And the last question is, what are you willing to do to get where God wants you to be or do? Anything less than whatever it takes is just an excuse. And that's not the condemning, that's to challenge you to go and figure out how to get your answer to whatever it takes. Whatever it needs to be. Let's pray real quick. God, thanks for today. We used your word today, God, to do the work.